Are you ready to master the infrastructure of the future? In this video, we are breaking down 30 critical practice questions for the DevOps Serverless Computing certification, covering everything from event-driven triggers to cold start optimizations. In this video, we will cover DevOps Serverless Computing certification training practice questions and explanations. Prepare for your DevOps Serverless Computing certification with this comprehensive mock exam. We will explore the major domains of serverless computing, including function as a service, backend as a service, and how they integrate into a modern DevOps CI/CD pipeline. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you never miss a deep dive into cloud-native engineering. Which of the following best defines the serverless model from a DevOps perspective? Option A. The complete absence of physical servers in the data center. Option B. A model where the cloud provider manages the infrastructure, scaling, and high availability. Option C. Running applications exclusively on virtual machines that are turned off manually. Option D. A system where developers must manage the OS patching and middleware. The correct answer is B. Serverless computing does not mean servers aren't involved. Rather, it means the developer or DevOps engineer does not need to manage, provision, or scale them. The cloud provider, like AWS, Azure, or GCP, handles all the underlying infrastructure tasks, including hardware maintenance, software patching, and automatic scaling based on demand. This allows DevOps teams to focus purely on code and deployment logic rather than operational overhead. In a serverless environment, what is a trigger? Option A. A manual command executed by a sysadmin to start a function. Option B. An automated script that deletes unused code every 24 hours. Option C. An event that signals a serverless function to execute, such as an HTTP request or file upload. Option D. A hardware failure that causes the system to failover. The correct answer is C. Serverless functions are event-driven. A trigger is a specific event that initiates the execution of the function. Examples include a user hitting an API gateway endpoint, HTTP trigger, a file being uploaded to an S3 bucket, blob, object trigger, or a message arriving in a queue, SQS pub sub trigger. Triggers enable the decoupling of services, which is a core tenet of microservices architecture. What is a cold start in the context of function as a service, FaaS? Option A. The initial delay when a function is invoked after being idle for a period. Option B. Running a function in a geographical region with low temperatures. Option C. The process of compiling code before it is deployed to the cloud. Option D. A security feature that prevents unauthorized access to the function source code. The correct answer is A. A cold start occurs when a serverless function is invoked after not being used for a while, or when the provider needs to scale out and spin up a new container instance to handle the request. The provider must allocate resources and initialize the runtime environment, leading to increased latency for that specific request. DevOps engineers often mitigate this using provisioned concurrency or by keeping the function warm with scheduled pings. Which tool is commonly used to package and deploy serverless applications across multiple cloud providers? Option A. Kubernetes. Option B. Serverless Framework. Option C. Jenkins. Option D. VMware vSphere. The correct answer is B. The Serverless Framework, often referred to as SLS, is an open-source CLI that simplifies the deployment of serverless applications. It provides a provider-agnostic way to define infrastructure as code, YAML, allowing developers to deploy to AWS, Azure, GCP, and Knative using the same workflow, while Kubernetes can run serverless workloads via Knative. The serverless framework is specifically designed for fast management. How does serverless computing handle horizontal scaling? Option A. By increasing the CPU power of a single running instance. Option B. By automatically spinning up new instances of the function in response to incoming events. Option C. By requiring the DevOps engineer to add more servers to a load balancer. Option D. By limiting the number of concurrent users to prevent crashes. The correct answer is B. Serverless platforms scale horizontally by default. When a function receives multiple simultaneous requests, the cloud provider automatically creates new instances, containers, of the function to process each request in parallel. This is seamless to the user and ensures the application can handle massive spikes in traffic without manual intervention, which is a key advantage over traditional VM-based scaling. Which security principle is most critical when assigning permissions to a serverless function? Option A. Root access. Option B. Security by obscurity. Option C. Principle of least privilege. Option D. Network isolation by default. The correct answer is C. The principle of least privilege, POLP, dictates that a function should only have the minimum permissions necessary to perform its specific task. For example, if a function only needs to read from a database, it should not have write or delete permissions. This minimizes the blast radius if the function's execution environment is compromised. In serverless, this is typically managed through IAM, Identity and Access Management, roles. What is the primary billing model for most serverless FaaS providers? Option A. Flat monthly fee based on the number of developers. Option B. Pay per execution and duration of execution. Option C. Fixed hourly rate per virtual machine. Option D. Billing based on the total storage size of the code. The correct answer is B. Serverless FaaS is characterized by a consumption-based pricing model. You are billed based on the number of times your function is triggered, requests, and the time it takes for the code to execute, usually measured in GB seconds. If your function is not running, you pay nothing for compute. This makes it highly cost-effective for irregular or bursty workloads compared to paying for idle server time. In a distributed serverless architecture, which tool helps in tracking a request across multiple services? Option A. Unit testing. Option B. Distributed tracing. Option C. Log rotation. Option D. Load balancing. The correct answer is B. Because serverless applications often consist of many small, decoupled functions, it can be difficult to debug the flow of a single request. Distributed tracing, using tools like AWS X-Ray, Azure Monitor, or OpenTelemetry, attaches a unique ID to a request as it moves through various functions, queues, and databases. This allows DevOps teams to visualize the entire path and identify bottlenecks or points of failure. Which of the following is an example of a BOSS, backend as a service component? Option A, AWS Lambda. Option B, Firebase authentication. Option C, Docker desktop. Option D, Nginx web server. The correct answer is B. While FAS, like AWS Lambda, deals with compute logic, BOSS, backend as a service, provides managed services for specific backend tasks. Firebase authentication, AWS Cognito, and managed databases like MongoDB Atlas are BOSS examples. They allow developers to outsource complex backend tasks, like user management or database scaling, to a third-party provider via APIs, further reducing the infrastructure management burden. What is a blue-green deployment in a serverless context? Option A, changing the color of the application dashboard. Option B, deploying a new version alongside the old one and shifting traffic between them. Option C, deleting the entire stack and recreating it from scratch. Option D, limiting function execution to specific daytime hours. The correct answer is B. Blue-green deployment is a strategy to reduce downtime and risk. In serverless, this is often achieved by using aliases or versions. You keep the stable version, blue, running and deploy the new version, green. You then use a traffic shifting mechanism, like weighted aliases, to gradually move a percentage of users to the green version. If errors occur, you can instantly roll back to the blue version. Why is state management challenging in serverless functions? Option A, functions are inherently stateful and remember previous inputs. Option B, functions are ephemeral and lose their local data after execution. Option C, cloud providers do not allow the use of external databases. Option D, state management requires permanent physical hardware. The correct answer is B. Serverless functions are designed to be stateless. This means that any data stored in the local memory or file system of the container during execution is lost once the function finishes and the container is destroyed. To maintain state, DevOps engineers must use external storage solutions like Redis, Elasticache, DynamoDB, or S3 to store information that needs to persist between different function calls. When connecting a serverless function to a private VPC resource, what is a common side effect? Option A, the function executes faster due to direct connection. Option B, increased cold start times due to ENI, elastic network interface, provisioning. Option C, the function becomes public and accessible to the whole internet. Option D, the cost of the function execution decreases by 50%. The correct answer is B. Historically, placing a serverless function, like AWS Lambda, inside a VPC, virtual private cloud, significantly increased cold start times because the provider had to provision and attach an ENI to the function's container, while modern cloud improvements, like AWS Hyperplane, have drastically reduced this latency. Networking overhead remains a critical design consideration for DevOps teams when securing serverless workloads. Which of these is not a typical runtime supported by major serverless providers? Option A, Node.js. Option B, Python. Option C, Windows 95 Shell. Option D, Java. The correct answer is C. Serverless providers support modern, popular runtimes like Node, JS, Python, Java, Go, and .NET. Outdated or proprietary operating system shells like Windows 95 are not supported. Most providers also offer custom runtimes using a bootstrap file, allowing you to run almost any language. But the core supported list usually focuses on cloud-native languages. What is the purpose of an API gateway in a serverless architecture? Option A. To act as a physical router in the data center. Option B. To provide a single entry point for RESTful APIs and handle request routing, throttling. Option C. To compile the function code before deployment. Option D. To store large video files for the application. The correct answer is B. The API gateway acts as the front door for serverless applications. It receives HTTP requests from clients, handles authentication and authorization, performs rate limiting, throttling, and then routes the request to the appropriate backend function. It decouples the client from the underlying microservices, providing a consistent interface and additional security layers. Which service is used to coordinate multiple serverless functions into a workflow? Option A. AWS Step Functions. Option B. AWS S3. Option C. Amazon CloudFront. Option D. Oz IAM. The correct answer is A. When an application requires a complex sequence of tasks, e.g., if function A succeeds, run function B. If it fails, run function C. Simple triggers aren't enough. AWS Step Functions or Azure Logic Apps allow you to build state machines that orchestrate multiple functions. It handles retry logic, branching, and state transitions, ensuring that complex business processes are executed reliably. How does increasing the memory allocation of a function affect its performance? Option A. It only increases the storage space for the code. Option B. It proportionally increases the CPU power and network bandwidth available. Option C. It makes the function run slower due to overhead. Option D. It has no impact on execution speed. The correct answer is B. In many serverless environments, notably AWS Lambda, memory and CPU are linked. When you increase the memory allocated to a function, the provider automatically allocates a proportional amount of CPU power. For CPU-bound tasks, increasing memory can actually make the function run faster and, in some cases, reduce the total cost by shortening the execution duration. What is function secret management? Option A. Hiding the function's URL from the public. Option B. Securely storing and retrieving sensitive data like API keys and DB passwords. Option C. Writing code in an encrypted programming language. Option D. Keeping the name of the function a secret from other developers. The correct answer is B. Hardcoding sensitive information like database credentials or API keys in your source code is a major security risk. Function secret management involves using services like AWS Secrets Manager, AWS Parameter Store, or Azure Key Vault to store these secrets. The serverless function then retrieves them at runtime, ensuring that secrets are encrypted at rest and in transit. Which metric is most important for identifying a serverless function that is failing consistently? Option A, invocations. Option B, duration. Option C, error count. Option D, throttles. The correct answer is C. The error count, or error rate, metric tracks the number of times a function execution fails due to code crashes, timeouts, or permission issues. Monitoring this metric is essential for DevOps teams to set up alerts. If the error count spikes, it indicates a deployment issue or a downstream service failure that needs immediate investigation. What is the AWS Serverless Application Model, SAM? Option A, a physical model of a data center. Option B, an open-source framework for building serverless applications on AWS. Extending CloudFormation. Option C, a database engine designed for serverless storage. Option D, a replacement for the Python programming language. The correct answer is B. AWS-SAM is a specific framework created by Amazon to simplify the definition of serverless resources like functions, APIs, and databases. It uses a simplified YAML syntax that is transformed into standard AWS CloudFormation templates. During deployment, it also includes a CLI for local testing and debugging, which is a vital part of the DevOps inner loop. How do you achieve idempotency in serverless deployments? Option A, by manual double-checking every deployment. Option B, by ensuring that running the same deployment script multiple times results in the same infrastructure state. Option C, by rebooting the cloud provider's servers before every update. Option D, by never updating the code once it is deployed. The correct answer is B. Idempotency is a core DevOps principle. In serverless, it means that if you run your deployment command, e.g., SLS deploy or SAM deploy, multiple times, the state of the cloud resources remains consistent and doesn't create duplicate or conflicting resources. Using declarative infrastructure as code, IAC, tools ensures that the tool calculates the difference, delta, between the current and desired state. Which pattern is used to handle long-running tasks that exceed the serverless function's timeout limit? Option A, asynchronous decoupling using a queue. Option B, increasing the function timeout to 24 hours. Option C, running the code in a browser console instead. Option D, using a recursive function call to restart the timer. The correct answer is A. Serverless functions usually have a maximum execution time, e.g., 15 minutes for AWS Lambda. For tasks that take longer, the best practice is to use a queue, like SQS. The initial function puts a message in the queue and returns immediately. A separate worker, like an ECS container or a series of coordinated functions, processes the message. This prevents timeouts and improves system resilience. What does provisioned concurrency do? Option A, it keeps a specified number of function instances warm and ready to respond immediately. Option B, it limits the function to only one user at a time. Option C, it moves the function code to a faster hard drive. Option D, it encrypts the function's logs. The correct answer is A. Provisioned concurrency is a feature designed to eliminate cold starts. By paying a small additional fee, you can tell the cloud provider to keep a certain number of execution environments initialized. When a request comes in, it is served by a warm instance immediately, providing consistent low latency for mission-critical applications. Why is local testing of serverless functions sometimes inaccurate compared to production? Option A. Local machines are always faster than the cloud. Option B. Cloud-specific IAM roles and event triggers are difficult to replicate perfectly locally. Option C. Serverless functions cannot run on local hardware. Option D. Local testing requires a constant internet connection. The correct answer is B. While tools like SAM Local and Local Stack help replicating the exact cloud environment, including complex IAM permissions, VPC networking, and specific event data structures, is challenging. This is why DevOps practitioners emphasize testing in cloud-native, staging environments that mirror production as closely as possible. What is a runaway function, and how can a DevOps engineer prevent it? Option A. A function that executes too fast, prevented by adding sleep timers. Option B. A function in an infinite loop that consumes massive costs, prevented by setting concurrency limits and timeouts. Option C. A function that deletes itself, prevented by locking the source code. Option D. A function that migrates to another cloud provider automatically. The correct answer is B. A runaway function occurs when a bug, like an infinite loop or a recursive trigger, causes the function to execute repeatedly, leading to an unexpectedly high cloud bill. DevOps engineers prevent this by setting strict timeout limits, so the function kills itself after X seconds, and reserved concurrency limits to cap the number of simultaneous instances. Which of the following is a disadvantage of serverless computing? Option A. High operational overhead. Option B. Vendor lock-in. Option C. Inability to scale. Option D. High cost for idle time. The correct answer is B. Vendor lock-in is a significant concern because serverless functions are often tightly integrated with a specific provider's services, like S3, DynamoDB, or Kinesis. Moving a serverless app from AWS to Azure requires rewriting much of the infrastructure code and potentially the application logic. This is why many teams use the Serverless Framework or Terraform to maintain some level of portability. True or false? In serverless computing, the user is responsible for managing the underlying operating system. Option A, true. Option B, false. Option C, option D. The correct answer is B. False. One of the defining characteristics of serverless is that the cloud provider manages the operating system, runtime environment, and hardware. The user is only responsible for the application code and the configuration of the service. This no-ops approach is what allows teams to move faster. What is edge computing in the context of serverless? Option A. Running functions at the data center's edge to reduce latency for end users. Option B. Running functions only on the weekends. Option C. A method of sharpening the code's logic. Option D. Running functions on physical servers located in the user's office. The correct answer is A. Edge computing, e.g., Lambda at edge or Cloudflare workers, involves running serverless code at locations closer to the user. CDN edge locations. This allows for tasks like header manipulation, image resizing, or A/B testing to happen with minimal latency, as the request doesn't need to travel all the way back to a primary regional data center. What is an insecure direct object reference, IDOR, in a serverless API? Option A. A bug where a user can access another user's data by changing an ID in the URL. Option B. A failure to encrypt the database at rest. Option C. When a function takes too long to respond to a request. Option D. A physical breach of the cloud provider's data center. The correct answer is A. IDOR is a common web security vulnerability that persists in serverless architectures. If a function retrieves a user profile based on a user ID parameter in the API call but fails to verify that the requesting user is actually authorized to see that specific ID, an attacker can iterate through IDs to steal data. Proper authorization logic inside the function is required to prevent this. What is a dead letter queue, DLQ? Option A. A queue for messages that have successfully been processed. Option B. A place where failed events are sent for later analysis and retrying. Option C. A database that has been deleted by mistake. Option D. A list of developers who no longer work on the project. The correct answer is B. When a serverless function fails to process an asynchronous event after multiple retries, the event data can be lost. A DLQ is a specialized queue, usually SQS or SNS, where these failed messages are sent. This allows DevOps engineers to inspect the failed payloads, fix the underlying code bug, and reprocess the events without losing data. What is log aggregation in a serverless environment? Option A. Manually logging into every server to read text files. Option B. Automatically collecting logs from all function instances into a single searchable dashboard. Option C. Deleting logs to save on storage costs. Option D. Hiding logs from the development team. The correct answer is B. Since serverless functions are ephemeral and run on many different underlying instances, you cannot SSH into a server to see logs. Log aggregation services, like AWS CloudWatch logs, Splunk, or Elk Stack, automatically collect stdout, stderr from every execution and centralize them. This is vital for troubleshooting and auditing in a distributed system. That wraps up our 30 practice questions for the DevOps Serverless Computing certification. We've covered everything from cold starts to security best practices. If you found this helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with your fellow cloud engineers. For the complete set of practice exams and detailed study materials, check the link in the description below.